And we're live. Now we are. You know, I don't think my air conditioner is that loud. Can you hear it? Well, you probably can't hear it yet.
I hear like a tiny hum, but it's nothing like obnoxious.
I have my microphone moved far away from it, and I messed with the settings. My little graph here. Here, let me check on the cast. Conditioner is that loud?
Yeah, I'm looking at it myself,
it?
and
Well,
I'm still seeing the splash screen.
all right. So, this is Friday the 9th, and we just wanted to just title this one in a very generic way so people get surprised by all the bombshells we have. Got those bombshells, right, Titan?
Yeah, well, bombshells. So there were a couple things this week that I wanted to bring up and ramble a bit about. But today, I was in a conversation a little bit earlier today, and it was right around noon, and we were in the CFA Gala stuff room, and Golden Hawk is a fantastic contributor. The things that are said sometimes really hit me. And we were talking about gaming, and Doc was there, and there was just a good conversation. And what he said was, but there are a few big factors here that are pushing what we're seeing in gaming. And he said, I'm sure you're well aware of it. And he said, A, doing it properly is obviously complicated, time-consuming, and expensive.
Doing what properly?
Developing blockchain games.
Okay.
Or B, there's a race to get these games out to gobble up initial consumer mind and market share. And I read that, and I said, oh my God, that is really profound, because the combination, finding the balance between those two things is probably going to end up being the key to unleashing a much better crypto gaming experience. Because unfortunately, I think in Gala's case with Townstar, it was more of the B, the race to get the game up and gobble initial, market share. Whereas you have, on the other hand, you have like Mirandus, which is like, as we know, forever in development, and doing it properly later on in the conversation. So if any of you haven't picked this up, go back to about noonish today. Well, that's my time. Duh. So what time is it now? I have no idea.
It is 7 o'clock.
10 o'clock at night. So go back 10 hours. 7 Pacific or
10.
Noon Eastern is when this started. And Doc had some fantastic input there as well. I had to go back. I was on my lunch hour from my day job, and I was pissed because that was a really good conversation about crypto gaming. And I think, but that statement hit me. And it's really, I think it's kind of that simple. What do you think?
I was waiting for you to go somewhere with that statement.
Well, I could keep rambling, but you hate it when I ramble.
Games take more work than you think they do, but everybody in the blockchain space seems to... So right now, when you announce a game, or sorry, I'll say in the past, when you would announce a game, basically you'd be pretty much done with the game. It was published, all ready to be out, and it's going to be in the store in 2 days. That's why when you announce the game. And the reason you do that is because you don't know if everything's going to come together and the game's going to work out. And there's marketers have their times when they want to market and so on. But the blockchain games, they announce right when they plan it, which is years before it actually comes out. And and people in the blockchain area seem to think that games just happen overnight, and they do not. And I'm wondering how many people are going to be waiting for all these games like Miranda's, which was announced last year. Miranda's a couple of years at least. They're probably going to make it so that you can play something or do some demos all along. They've committed to once per quarter they will do a demo. But a lot of games just go dark, and then they just work on getting things done, and then they actually change some of their goals. You are free to change your goals when you tell people as little as possible. When you announce at the last minute, you can subtract features at the last minute. Not so with announcing years in advance. It's like, let's do Miranda's. Well, do you remember that game Fortified?
I do. It completely changed.
Fortified was just going to be this tower defense game, and they even showed a demo. Like, look, we got some tower defense stuff going on. You see tower defense stuff moving around and getting blown up, and then they went dark for 6 months or something like that. And they came back with a totally different game. And they probably did that due to some realities. Who knows? Realities of how much money they'd make, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they got some funding, maybe they lost some funding. Whatever the case is, it's now completely different. It looks like World of Warcraft sort of light. And I for one am a bit disappointed because I wasn't expecting that game. I literally wanted a tower defense because I love tower defense. My son loves tower defense, and now it's this weird ass World of Warcraft looking thing.
Yeah. I'm the same way because I played Vector TD back on the old Candy Stand platform. I loved it, and I was hoping that's what this was going to be. So the change is there. I mean, I'll try it. I'll play it. Like I said, I'll try all their games. But Doc, picking on him some more. Well, not really even picking on him, but that's where he seems to really, he's pinging on that quite a bit. That maybe because they're announcing them so quickly and they want to get that traction in the space and all these changes that are coming out, and that's where people feel like they're really getting dumped on. They're like, hey, I bought this NFT expecting, A, B, and C as the utility. Now the game's completely different. The NFT isn't going to do that, or I have to buy something else to make the NFT work. What do you think that's horseshit? And don't give me any of this, oh, they never said this, right? In reality,
the horseshit that I'm gonna give you is realities. The realities are they simply They wanted to start a game like, okay, let's use Fortified. Fortified, when they announced it, when I got interested, they had advertised some NFTs, and they sold some NFTs, and they were like, oh, okay, you can get an arrow tower. Okay, why? Because it's a tower defense game, and then you're going to get an ice tower. And I think I got some drops as an ice tower and a fire tower and stuff like that. And
yeah, I got some of I bought a bunch of them.
And so they showed you, they did show the game like, this is what we're thinking of. We're not there yet. Things could change, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually the game changes. Guarantee there's going to have to be a fire and an ice tower and an arrow tower in there. Everything else, they didn't say. And the realities on the ground is that they have to change things, and I don't know why they might have changed things. Maybe they got more money, maybe they lost some team members, maybe their lead programmer died. But whenever you start taking money for something, and Doc might have some things to say about this. Whenever you take money for something, you have a certain a responsibility there. And because they took money, they obviously have responsibility to those towers. But then, of course, if they change the game, now it's like, well, these towers are going to need this, and then they're going to need that, and then they're going to need that. And so they'll have to offer those as well. I know you're burned from spider tanks, where spider tanks, they sell the tanks, and at the time, they're like, this is all that you'll ever need, I think. And in fact, even when the maps came, I was like, oh, this is kind of, why do they need to sell land for Spider Tank? Okay, their level's fine. Okay, I'll buy some. And so I bought a land or two. And then, of course, they I won't say dark, but they just went and developed for a number of months, like 6 to 8 months. And then now they're back, and then they have these pods coming out. And they have they got the nodes, of course, and The nodes were just going to be the nodes, and now the nodes come with a pod because people were bitching about having to have these pods. But I wish they just said what was obvious, which is we've been telling you that there will probably need to be a fee for the rental system. The pods are the fee. But they don't want to say the fee because they want to keep adding on if necessary. What if they put the pods in and the fee isn't enough? And it's not going to cover costs or whatever. Then they're going to have to add something else in. So they'll tell you certain things up front, but then there's a lot of things they're going to leave out and they're going to have to add in later to make shit work. So that's what I support, which is I totally support them having to add things in later. I don't feel one whit of sorry for them, the fact that they get roasted for not telling the whole story, because they're the dipshits that announced it as soon as possible. If you announce something as soon as possible, you're painting yourself into a corner, man. And now, of course, people get mad.
I just put a rant on that in Discord like 2 days ago, because I'm tired of listening to the whining. All right. And you're right. We all aped into a bunch of stuff well before we should have. And it's really hard to cry about things after that because you knew there was going to be changes. And the pattern has always been, look, we're going to change this stuff. Oh, by the way, oh, by the way, oh, by the way. Well, I stopped that a while ago. I'm not buying into that anymore. And these new sales then, right? Do you hold their feet to the fire with a disclaimer and say, okay, you want to have this next sale that you're going to sell what is it? They just put one out for Townstar. Oh, paved roads, right? They're putting out paved roads for Townstar. And, should there be, well, this'll change later. This could change later. But my complaint from the past that I haven't brought up in a while is if you're assuming and going to go into the legalese and you're just because they didn't say that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do to change the rules later.
I'm sorry, I've lived by what we say for the last 25 years as a software developer. We say that, and that's why I have developed me saying tell people as little as possible isn't a recent thing. I've been saying that for at least 15, 20 years. Tell people as little as possible. You promise as little as possible so that you can always over-deliver. And what you're seeing is software development houses learning what they should and shouldn't say. And they're also fighting with their own marketing department, which is trying to keep you interested. Now, I do give Doc a hard time, but I do agree with him on saying that you should give some sort of indication of what people should expect. Maybe they should lean harder on things may change, we may add things. It's the same thing that I've said before, which is the communication. My whole communication diatribe comes from 25 years of software development, saying communication is the important part. They've got to communicate expectations from you. My thing would be to manage expectations. I would say it straight up front. Let's manage expectations. We want people to know this game is going to come out. We want it to come out as soon as possible. These are the features we want. And if for some reason the feature doesn't make it, it's because reality hit. That's how I would manage expectations. However, I probably wouldn't sell as much NFTs. So,
well, okay, but that's the thing. So it's done on purpose to a point, because if they made the disclaimer, oh, hey, this is what this is going to be, but we might change our mind later, and you might have to buy 3 additional things to get this to work. How many of those sales would evaporate? A lot, right?
I don't know. There's a lot of successful products out there, or I'll just say a lot of products. A lot of products out there sell on vapor. They promise, and then they eventually deliver. I mean, that's all of Kickstarter. So, but there's a lot of a lot of products out there that tell you that they're going to do something, and then they have to actually put the proof. They actually have to do the work. And I think you might be having a problem with that style of doing it all together. You'd probably have the same problem with Kickstarter.
I don't have a problem with it because I just stopped buying in. And I'll wait. I can buy it on OpenSea. There's hardly anything on OpenSea that's more
now, to
than
be
what's
fair,
sold
I'm
for
not
in the
seeing
Gala store.
I'm not seeing Gala Games commercials on network TV. I'm seeing on the Brave browser, and I'm seeing Gala mentioned here and there. I don't see it. I don't think that they're making a super hard marketing push right now. Not only that, if they had that stuff on network TV right now, people would laugh them off of the network, because crypto in general still leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, because crypto's really early. So that's why they're farming all the whales. They want to keep getting money from the whales because those are the people most interested. And it's these people that are buying in right now that are going to make the biggest bank when the game comes out. And then everybody else is going to be like, well, I rent and I get like $2 a week. Yeah, you should have been renting for the last year, because let me tell you, when it first came out, $200 a day, dude. So that's just the way things go.
Well, let's circle back for a moment, because you said something that's important. It was part of that conversation I was referring to. And you said over deliver. Then you write something and then you over deliver.
Under promise and over deliver.
And yeah, right. So where has that come into play with the Gala NFTs so far?
Well,
what have they under promised and over delivered on?
I've said this multiple times. I think the way that Eric Schreiermeyer works is the moment he gets anything to any level of completion, he puts it in front of you. And
you didn't answer the question.
No, there is nowhere. That's the answer. I think you get it. I don't think they do it. I think you literally see what they're done with. As soon as they get something, when they have a concept, they throw the concept out in front of you. So no, they don't do it. It's not that I need to answer for it, it's they don't do it.
Right. And that's what I've been pushing for a while now, is that and we argued about this, I don't know, maybe 2-3 months ago. When you're doing things like this, the whole concept of buying in early is taking that huge risk, especially when it comes to not having that information on the back end. Just somebody standing up there saying, oh, this is going to be great. Just get it and you'll see, right? So that's a huge risk. Now, in reality, where you're kind of coming from, what that means is you're taking a huge risk up front. So the reward at the end of the rainbow is supposed to equal that huge risk with a huge reward.
That's how rich people do things. That's
right.
Everything you
but
see.
But the problem is that's not happening.
Every product you see out there, from a new Coke product to whatever, is some rich person bankrolling an idea, or a rich group or whatever bankrolling an idea, and then when that thing takes off, then they make a buttload of money. I mean, that isn't there a show called Shark Tank or something? Or I'm confusing shows. There's one with Mark Cuban where he puts money behind ideas.
Right.
And he hands them a bunch of money, and he's like, I want such and such a percent. Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, that.
And then any of those people in the Mark Cuban show, you're not going to see their products for like 2 years. And then when it does, it's going to be like, oh, yeah, that wasn't it on Mark Cuban's show? Well, most of that shit's silent because people don't want you to know that they're investing in this stuff because they want to make bank as much as possible. So the people who bankrolled Amazon are fucking rich. The people who bankrolled, all these Google are fucking rich. And the same thing with, hopefully with Gala maybe. The people who gave Gala bought all these NFTs early, hopefully they'll be rich.
Well,
a lot of them are
but
big,
again,
rich whales, though, so they're already rich.
Well, but you're saying hopefully.
Well,
right?
It's called the future. The future's uncertain.
There's risk. So if that risk does pay off, the high risk, high reward needs to be there. And that's what I'd like to see first before getting back into these NFTs. I want to see some of the early NFTs that I bought, and some of them were very early. I want to see them pay off first before I'll buy into more.
Okay, so you know what rich
Because
people
there's
also
that
do?
high risk.
So what rich people also do is they also make bet upon bet upon bet upon bet. They don't
Right.
even
Yep.
they don't wait for their bets to pay off before they shovel it into another bet. And there's two reasons why. One, the first bet might fail, so they want to unload it as quickly as possible. Two, they want to build on that bet because they're like, okay, if I bought this for $1 and I get $100 out of it, I want to put it into this other thing while that money's there, and then I want to 10x that. They just keep funneling bets into bets into bets. That's what all the big companies do. So what I see with Gala Games, for example, is they have lots of different games. They have a lot of bets going on. Whoever's running that company is a betting man, and he's putting bet after bet after bet, and I know there's a lot of options. It's like, okay, one game isn't panning out right now. How's this other one? Can we get this one up? Can we at least get something going? Can we show something? Like Superior. We just got Superior play tested right now. Why are we seeing a play test of Superior? Because nothing else is going on right now. I could see Eric Schreiermeyer going over them, going, guys, give us something. We're dying over here. Well, the more games they get, the more people that Eric can go to and get people to show them. So he can stall indefinitely on any specific game if he just constantly shows you another game. So that's a smart idea because he can always keep the ball rolling and the money moving. But you're a single dude who wants to manage his money responsibly, and you're like, you know what? Before I put in any money into this stuff, I want it to pan out. That's not what rich people do, and that's not how you make money. If you want to make money, then you do things before they pan out.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I have, and I've put a substantial amount of money into
And
these
you reached your limit.
NFTs.
That's all.
And,
Tapped out.
right. Well, I'm not tapped out.
We all have our limits.
I want to see if any of them will pay off first, because I've hedged a lot of bets here.
Well, some people have already, their bets with Townstar have already paid off, and so they don't have a problem. You just came in later.
No, I was there at the beginning. I just didn't ape into as many.
The people who aped in more.
Townstar.
The first stuff with Townstar were very, very lucrative. Had you aped in the beginning, you would have been paid off, and now you're taking this money and putting it elsewhere. Maybe you wasted it on Bored Apes or something. I don't know. But the point is, every person that doesn't get in at the very beginning is going to have the same mindset as you, which is, I'm still waiting for this to pay off. How come my thing didn't pay off? People getting into Gala Games right now are seeing the new games, like the Battlestar Galactica. Ooh, I really like that one. I'm going to put some money behind that one. Yeah, wait 5 years, buddy. You don't care about Townstar. You're caring about the new games. And it benefits Gala to keep bringing out new games because they're going to get more and more people interested. But you've got an increasing line of people behind you waiting for all their NFT bets to pay off. And so that takes some balls, in my opinion, to lead that many people on. And if they deliver, they're fine. If they stumble and take responsibility, they're fine. But if they stumble and try to cover it up, they're doomed.
So right. So you have these other platforms, right? And you have your Axie Infinity and your Smooth Love Potion and there's tons of them out there. And so far, a winning formula has not been found. And the latest formulas for these are formulas in which it's so ridiculously complex, 18 conversations have to take place in order for you to barely understand what's going on.
Yep.
So where's a happy medium there? Because it can get ridiculously confusing very
Well,
fast.
I think the happy medium is going to have to be regulation. I mean, there's the regulation does have good purposes. Regulation is a way to establish standards. So you could say anybody who puts out a game has to do these 4 things. It's onerous because you have to go verify it with the regulator that something is being done. But the regulators are saying exactly the same things that you are, which is you guys are doing all this stuff. How do we know this stuff is even going to pan out, and so on? It's kind of funny how people really don't like regulation, but then you hear those very same people calling for regulation, but they don't use the word. They just say, "I don't trust you anymore," or when are you going to show me something? That's regulation, buddy.
I am not a regulation person. I don't think there should be any regulation.
You're asking for it with
little.
that very statement. You're
No,
saying,
I'm not.
"Show me the money." That's what
No.
regulation is going to regulate.
That's not regulation. I'm not asking anybody to help me get money. I'm just saying I would like to see some of this stuff pan out before I dump more money into it.
Well, you did ask the question, what kinds of things should they do? And what I hear you asking for is a standard. And standards are what regulators set. It's best. No. It's best in an unregulated space. I'm going to say this until I die. It is best in an unregulated space for you to come up with a standard and get other people to go along with it. I would love to see Gala Games come up with a standard for NFTs and for games, and then get everybody else going by that standard. When you write the standard, now you have people that can lobby for you to set that standard in stone. But if you don't do that, then a regulator is going to come along and apply their own standard, which has nothing to do with it. And getting back to your original conversation with Doc had requested, shouldn't there be a definition for land? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's a standard. Shouldn't there be a standard definition for land? I think the regulators will come up with something a bit more generic. But if Gala Games and a bunch of other movers and shakers in the crypto world came up with a definition for land, that might just stick. But if the SEC has to come up with a definition of land, they're just going to say, well, any NFT that gives you money is land. No, not really. I think they wouldn't even say that. I think they just say any NFT that gives you money is an NFT that gives you money. And then they'll name it whatever they want to name it, and then you still gotta meet some standard, or sorry, meet some rule that standard dovetails right into.
I think that original post from Golden Hawk is very profound to kind of circle back.
He's saying a lot of things a lot of people are saying too. A lot of people want they want clarity in the space, and when the players aren't even being clear, or they're being intermittently clear, then you start saying, you know what, I ain't buying shit, buddy, until you start delivering.
Yeah, and unfortunately, so a lot of us are not poor, but we're not rich either, right? Just kind of grinding along, doing our thing. And we want to participate. We want to play some cool games. We want to make some money, but we don't want to go broke doing it, right? So there's that race. There's A and B. Do you take your time and do it right like Miranda's? Or do you just throw shit out there, half baked, half done, see what sticks? That you have to find a middle ground to that. You can't have it on either extreme.
Well,
and
okay.
Right now,
so what you had mentioned about Gala Games, my observation is that they are not marketing it to the average Joe, that they have always been marketing to the rich people, because rich people, you can lead them around by the nose a lot longer than the everyday people. A rich person, you can say, hey, we got something. What you got? Well, this is really early. We got something. Do you trust me? And well, okay, well, here's some money. And then, eventually they'll come up with something. and the rich people don't really care because they're getting their money and whatever. Everyday people, I'll just say the poor people, buying products in the store or buying games or something like that, they expect you to actually do what the fuck you say. And so they're like, okay, you want me to put my $60 toward it, you're going to have to give me a good goddamn reason why I got it. Well, you're going to have this in the game and this in the game and this in the game. Okay, well then I'm in. If it takes more than 6 weeks, though, they're going to get really pissed. They're going to be like, look, buddy, I need this money for rent. So I think a lot of the NFT games out there, and I'm looking at you, Star Atlas, and some others, that do the same thing. They want incredible large amounts of money from people. They are not marketing to gamers. They're marketing to rich people. And all these people will be even richer when these games finally do come out years from now. And that's not me saying that you need to get in early. I'm just saying that's just how it works. The rich people are getting in right now. So if you're saying, oh my God, I'm just going to have to wait until they actually show the proof of the pudding, you've just told me how much money you have and how much money you don't have. That's the way I see it. If you're...
Oh, I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of NFTs.
Yeah, but the fact that you're getting unhappy there, that's showing...
I'm not unhappy. I'm not buying anything. I'm not selling anything. I'm not saying it's a pile of shit. I'm merely saying I'm paused until I see some results. And here's the problem. You keep saying the same thing. You've been saying the same thing for like 18 months now. We're marketing to whales. We're not marketing to regular people. Right. Well, here's the problem. You can't operate play to earn that way. It doesn't work. We've seen it fail with Axie. We've seen it fail with Decentraland. We've seen it fail with Townstar. The problem is they take all this money from these whales, and there's whales taking their money, their profits, and everything else out, and there's no new money coming in from the masses. You have to have the non-whales that are buying in, otherwise your play to earn doesn't work.
Okay, do you remember how I said watch what people do, not what they say? So if you find that a company is still around after adhering to a business plan that you don't think will work, there's probably something going on that you don't know about. So when I say watch what they do, if you see Gala Games throwing these wild-ass huge parties, they got the money. And they're gonna and if they only advertise to whales, they don't need the money as much as you think they do. So that's what I'm getting at. You continue to see parties, you can bitch and moan and complain all you want, and you can tell them how you don't think their stuff's going to work, but they're the ones with the money, and they're the ones throwing the parties. Until those parties end, they got the money. So, I mean, remember, you're not running the company. I'm not running the company. I wouldn't have the balls to run that company. But it's still, if you can run a company like that, you too would have the money. It's just the way things work. You don't have to agree. The fact that they're still in business, that they haven't gone belly up and rugged all their people, means that something's working.
I don't argue that. I'm talking about the play-to-earn economy, though. The play-to-earn economy that they're trying to create cannot work without non-whales funneling tons of money in. And that's where they're struggling. They can't get that mass adoption to a level that's going to support what they've already sold to the whales.
Well, I don't see a lot of what they're doing right now catering to people with less money. I would love to see an NFT selling for $50 on Gala Games. But obviously, if we watch what they do and not what they say, there's a reason they're not doing that, because they're not going to get a lot of money for that. So it might be that the whales are all that they have.
That's fine, but their play-to-earn economy will crumble if they don't have that when it's time to launch the game.
You're talking about stuff in the future. Sure, okay, sure, fine. That's their problem to solve.
So shouldn't there be a lot more marketing around a game like Spider Tanks that's 7 weeks from launching?
Again, I'm not privy to the kind of things that they talk to among themselves. I don't know why they're deciding to wait till the end of October to start up the game. Maybe because things aren't ready yet.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about why are they not getting the $50 NFTs out and doing mass marketing to get the non-whales into spider tanks in the final weeks before launch. They're going to need those.
Don't know. I don't know their plan. They could you could. So remember what I said before about video games in the past would announce pretty close to their launch dates, and then they do this massive marketing blitz when something launches. You only hear about it maybe a month beforehand, and then it launches, and then you see a big push. Maybe you're going to see the push. I mean, each marketer is kind of different. I'm not up on the best marketing, but I've traditionally seen a lot of marketing when something gets released.
I just find it odd. I mean, they could be geniuses and have this all planned out. You're right, but
beats me. I don't know if they're geniuses. I'm just saying that they have
I don't know.
They likely have a plan. It just it's probably not what you're expecting. And I would suggest maybe the plan is more of a traditional, we'll announce it when the game is out.
I don't know.
It's so easy to throw doubt out there, but it's harder to just look into what their actual dilemmas are. If you ran the company, maybe you would announce things a lot sooner and let people cool their heels for 6 to 8 weeks, waiting for the game to come out.
Well, I don't think it's doubt that I'm throwing here. I think I'm just asking questions because we're not hearing this stuff in the same context of releasing, right? So you'll see Bitbender on his AMAs, you'll see all these guys, the developers and everything else on their AMAs, and they're pounding their fist on the desk. We have to have mass adoption. We have to have mass adoption. This is vital to the system, yada, 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 yada. And then here we are 7 weeks before a major release and crickets with mass adoption. So I'm just asking a question. If it's on purpose, I would love to know why. Because to me, that you have these economic levers. Like
you got to be careful the way you word your questions. That question reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you've ever seen the original Planet of the Apes, when Charlton Heston was brought among them, and they found out that he could talk, and so they go to ask questions of them. They just want to ask questions of this human who apparently can talk. And one of the first questions they had is, "Tell us why humans are so stupid." And so, it's a fallacy. It's a fallacious question, and you can certainly, quote, ask questions in a fallacious way, and either inform the answer or pretty much telegraph an answer. I'm not going to defend them and say that they're doing something right. I have no idea what they're doing. All I'm saying is they probably have a plan, and they're probably going to do it. My observation is that a lot of companies tend to advertise when something comes out, not 8 weeks before. But it depends on how big the product is. Maybe they want maybe they want to put it out in a more low-key way. Don't know. Maybe it's going to be available on multiple platforms. Maybe, I mean, there's so many reasons why that would be. I'm certainly sure that you'd go, "Oh, I see," at one point. But
maybe I will.
But they're also the ones running the business. I mean, everybody's a critic when they're not running the business. And right now, Gala Games is a multi-billion-dollar company, I think, at this point. Yeah, I'm giving you guys a lot of credit, right? They're a multi-billion-dollar company. They have a lot of funds and stuff at their disposal. And me and you, even though I've been a programmer for a long time, we don't really have any experience running that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to be me personally. I'm not going to really hold their feet to the fire, and to that fire and say, "Where's your marketing?" But that's just me.
Well, no, I'm not going to hold their feet to the fire either. They've put a ridiculous amount of effort from the Gala side in. The community spent weeks coming up with proposals and ideas, essentially doing their job for them to try and help them out, and came up with this hopefully it'll work. I think it'll be better than Townstar. I can tell you that from reading it. But it's so crazy. All that effort was put into it. But if you end up where it's all these whales and planet owners and node owners that are just in there by themselves, sucking up tokens and trying to get some of that money back for the ridiculous amounts of money they spent on planets and nodes, and yanking that out, and not enough people coming in to play spider tanks and buy those Titan tanks and some of those smaller things. Yeah, I just don't know how that can work. That's all I'm asking the question on.
I would recommend anybody who is worried, just wait and see, like you're doing. There's nothing wrong with that.
So I agree with XRP Detroit in the chat. You can't go wrong with the coin. You're right.
The coin seems to be doing so much better than the NFTs anyway.
Yeah, and at the time, during that frenzy when it hit 70 cents last November, everybody's going bonkers, and everything got washed out in all these rooms, and I kept pinging Faz on everything. I'm like, dude, go buy this, dude, go buy that, because the price had spiked so high. You could buy nodes for like ridiculously cheap in Gala. You could have bought a Citadel. I think it was like 600,000 Gala. You could have bought one of the remaining 2 Citadels. And he's like, "Hush, I'm trying to